Star Wars Force Arena players, welcome to this Star Wars Force Arena video. So I did a state of the game about the state of the game recently. I'll say recently, probably a couple of months ago now, but I felt I needed to address some issues in the game currently that has bothered me to the point where I'm so angry and really annoyed, but we'll talk more about that later on. And this is probably about the 10th time I've recorded this video because it just turned into a rant. And I just didn't want to. I wanted to have some direction in what I'm saying. So we all know 1.7 arrived not long ago, and it has fundamentally changed the face of this game. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's update videos in the channel about 1.7. I'm not going to go into the details here, but the predominant changes were the fact that they brought in, for Rebels, Phoenix Squadron, a common card that cost 5 energy, which are utterly useless. They took out the teeth of the drop pod to make it do more damage against leaders, big deal, and more damage against units, apparently, maybe, increases hit points, but against structures, turrets for example, they took out the teeth and just gave them 2 bags of wet hair to use instead of blades, so they do barely any damage. So instead of dropping, say for example, 4 drop pods to take out a turret, you now got to drop down 12. I know, because I've tried it. That's how many it takes. 12 drop pods. Then, to make matters worse for the Empire, who are already more powerful than the Rebels, which is how they are in the films, that bit I understand. But this is a game, it's not a movie, and there has to be some kind of balance. They brought out this Imperial Sentry droid, a tanky card for 3 energy. A tech unit that is unlocked at a much lower level. Therefore, that now means that any new Rebel player to the game doesn't have a card, apart from a tank, to push on a turret. And the Empire has his new ability with the Imperial Sentry droid, Sand Trooper, etc. Now, the Sentry droid was meant to be like a counter for the Wookiee, but Rebels don't have anything else like an AT-ST Walker. They've got a Bantha. Now, if you're lucky, the Bantha may make it to the turret. With a speed boost, it might get off 2 hits. If you're lucky. That's despite them changing the hit points on it, making it a bit more durable. But when you drop down to Bladesmen, they just chop it to pieces. Like they chop down light tanks to pieces. They chop everything to pieces. Gregorian Rebel, for example. Now notice one thing there. Gregorian Rebel costs 4. Tank costs 6. And they just make mincemeat of it. Phoenix Squadron, another card, they'll just chop to pieces. And they cost 5. But they haven't been touched. No, can't nerf them. Have to leave them be. Because it's too difficult for the Empire to drop down Bladesmen to protect their turret against the pod drops, or Stormtroopers for example against the pod drops, or use a stun grenade against a pod drop. That is too complicated when you are a player sometimes, so they have to go into forums and they have to complain about it. Now I would play more Empire on my streams, but I can't because of the queue times. But that's the way it is, because in all the Star Wars games that I've ever played in my entire life, there are always going to be more Empire players. That is a fact of life, and there's nothing any game company can do about it unless you've got a random queue system like you've got in Star Wars Battlefront, where I am Rebels 98% of the time, bizarrely, in that game, but it's random. That's for another video. So I would stream a mixture of both, but I can't because of that very reason. So I predominantly play Rebels, and with 1.7's arrival, it is becoming increasingly difficult to get a win, and when you do get a win you have to work so hard for it, which you could argue yes you should, but why shouldn't the Empire work just as hard for it? The Rebels have not got anything to push with, and to make matters even more of an issue, the Imperial side have got many more leaders who are much stronger, who deal over 300% damage predominantly on most of the leaders, with the exception of Jin, but that's only single target damage, does 475, and then you've got Hera who does her Ghost Rider AoE damage. But when you've got things like Krennic, Tarkin, Bosk, who all regenerate energy, Vader 40 who just regenerates health, and it's still unstoppable, but left slash, that needed a nerf, but they didn't nerf it, left it, you know. His radius for when he pulls things in is unbelievable. You don't know where to stand, because it doesn't matter where you are, Darth Dyson will just suck you in and then just beat the hell out of you, and everything's dead. So right now the game is not in a good place. 1.7 I feel has ruined the experience for Rebel players. in the game. Now with a drop pod, Empire players, I can hear you now, Empire players saying, yeah, but it needed doing, it needed nerfing, it needed this. Bearing in mind the drop pod cost more energy, and Netmarble in their wisdom reduced it because it wasn't being used enough in games. So rather than making the drop pod cost more or reverting it back to what it used to cost, they just took out the teeth of it, making it absolutely useless. So it can do more damage on a leader. Whoopee do. Have you tried using it on a leader? Yes, doesn't last very long still, does it? So, with all that in mind, I've come to the conclusion that Netmarble are kind of like on a go slow mode now. They promised all these updates at the start of the game when it came out. Big update every 4 weeks, patch updates in between every couple of weeks, and that has gone out the window because this game clearly isn't making them much money anymore, and they probably thought that make this game, got a license, it'd be a win-win, and it isn't the case because Star Wars is not like any other game. The game has to be casual and easy to play, and this game is a lot of fun. It used to be a lot of fun, and I've really had a lot of fun playing it, but given the changes now with 1.7, I just can't spend any more time playing this game until they change it. So it is with regret that I will not be streaming this game any longer. I'll be making no more videos for this game either going forward until Netmarble makes some fundamental changes. I'm not going to sit here and blackmail them and threaten them with all this kind of stuff because I'm not a big YouTuber, but it's kind of like the fact that when they do the next update, if there's anything significant in there, I will look at that and I'll see if it's deemed me streaming it, and then I'll stream it, we can have a look at it and talk about it and see if it's worth going back to the game. But it needs some drastic changes to make things work in that respect, and there's a reason why player numbers are dwindling, and that is predominantly the reason why. Which is sad because it is a good game and it has a lot of potential, but it's clear at Netmarble I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you. I really don't know. You know, 1.7, I just don't know what to say about it. It wasn't needed, those updates. Those changes weren't needed. Especially when you think, you know, I mean, I've ranted on about it. Here we go. This is the rant part, and I can't stop because it opens doors, and I'm not going to go down that road for 10 minutes. So I would like to thank everyone who has supported the channel for all these videos, because when I first started doing these videos I had 5 subscribers because the plan was to stream Battlefront, but that game was abysmal, so I didn't do it. So I left it, and I thought, oh wow, this game looks good, Force Arena, let's try this, see what happens. And then here we are, 600 odd subscribers later, which is amazing. So I can't thank you guys enough for your support. And to all of you who joined the guild and join the live streams and interact, we've had a lot of fun with what's been going on. You guys have enjoyed all the salt level content, which is some sort of, and obviously with each week you've noticed as well that has been rising beyond belief. Yes, I was ill and that didn't help me, but it's so frustrating now in 2v2 because I can't play with my guildmates because of the connection issues, which is another problem, because otherwise I'll happily play with my guildmates, but because when I connect I can't, the connection issues are really poor. But what is bizarre is that if I join a game with a guildmate in a random 2v2, so if we both put on the same team by random chance, there's no connection problems. But if we join a game together, I have connection problems. And it isn't, I don't play the game on Wi-Fi, I don't, you know, I do it for my PC, as all of you know. So I have solid connection. And it simply is down to the fact to the servers when they're connecting people around the globe, and it makes matters worse. Bizarre. Anyway. So what's the future going to be? So the channel will carry on doing Galaxy of Heroes, although it will not become my dominant game. I am going to wean off games for a little bit until I have a holiday, and then come back refreshed, and then see what happens with Force Arena, because I still want to play it, and I still will be logging into the game to do turrets, dailies. That'll probably be it, but it'll be nowhere near like I was before. It really will be much less playtime. And then the hope that Star Wars Battlefront 2 will live up to the expectations, then I will probably be adopting that game going forward as well. So thanks very much again. But again, before I go, actually, do check the channel back. Do keep checking back in case there's news about updates to Force Arena, because obviously we will be looking at those. I'm not going to uninstall the game. I'm still going to keep it on my device and all those kind of things. But again, thanks again for your support. It's been absolutely immense. And catch me on Discord, catch me in the guild still, I'll still be in there, or come drop some comments on YouTube, and may the Force be with you.